afternoon and welcome to the Keepers of the Flame. My name is Margaret Locklear, also known as the Black Butterfly, and we would like to welcome you to our circle. This Keepers of the Flame show is about storytellers, and so we're putting it out there that we're looking for all ethnicities to come and share your stories with us, because every culture has a storyteller and we'd like you to share your stories. I'd also like you to know that there are various ways of telling a story. There are storytellers who sing their stories. Some tell it in prose, some tell it in poetry, some tell it through music. So whichever way you would like to share your story with us, be in touch with us. And today we also joined by John the Wizzz Carrington, who will share his wonderful stories and magic with us. And welcome back to Keepers of the Flame. I'm your host, Margaret Locklear, the Black Butterfly. And today's guest is John Carrington, John the Wizzz Carrington. And so, John, thank you for joining us. Tell us a little bit about why you're here and how you got started.
Well, actually, I got started in storytelling by being the oldest of 7 children living in Cherry Hill. Being the oldest, I was many times assigned to be the babysitter. And one of the things we could afford was storytelling. And I would sit in front of my brothers and sisters and make up long yarns and fantastic tales that really came from just fertile imagination and a bunch of responsibility that I had to fill.
I understand.
They say necessity is the mother of invention. Well, when you are a babysitter and you have 7 brothers and sisters and they're all born in stair steps, the second oldest was just as big as I was, the third one was just as smart as I was, and the fourth one didn't want to cooperate. Everything else below that went downhill.
I understand.
Literally and figuratively. So the storytelling became a very important part of just existing in a big family.
Okay, and so what made you go outside the family and begin? Because I have to tell you, the first time that I saw you, you must have been maybe 19 or 20 years old, and the first time I saw you were carrying a little monkey and on your shoulders, and totally fascinated the kids in our neighborhood.
Well, I'm still only 20, but you know, the last year I met her. The puppetry was also a tool for storytelling. Many times when you tell stories, you can use the hands, words, a song, or even a circumstance or situation you find yourself in to tell a story that's relevant. But the puppets give you a pretense for sharing a story and somebody to help you tell the story. So the puppetry and the ventriloquism became a way of communicating to audiences. Also, people were willing to pay you if you brought enough equipment to make it look like you're doing work. So after a while, I realized that the puppetry and the storytelling and my enthusiasm for being in front of an audience, I mean, the ego was always there, but the practice of having to be the oldest child in a big family gave me a place to hone my skills and polish my talent. So working with an audience, with a puppet, doing magic tricks, some juggling, being humorous, that came quite natural for me. So the real challenge was to find a way to make the storytelling practical, and the puppet gave me that extension that made it all so more commercial.
Okay. Well, before we get into the puppets, let's find out a little bit more about John Carrington and who you are.
Okay.
You're married?
I'm married. Married with children. They ought to do a TV show about me.
Oh, right.
Oh, it's already been done. I have 2 daughters, and they birthed into the world 5 granddaughters.
Wow.
So I'm still waiting for that son that I can teach wrestling and football to. The girls are a bundle of joy. They have artistic talent. Some of them dance, some sing, some just love to talk, which of course is one of my skills.
Apple don't fall too far.
and so that's a really exciting portion of my life. They whenever they have a science project, they come to me and ask my opinion. Then they go and do what they want to do. Whenever they have a story to write or a book that they have or a report they have to do, they come and get my opinion, and then they do their own thing. But the whole point is that at least I'm a sounding block for them. It's almost an extension of what I did when I was a oldest child living in a family of 7. I became that go-to person when it came to advice and somebody to confide with. So it's been a fun existence. Being a grandfather has been a real adventure too. That gives you a chance to be the wise person, and then you have to be serious. You can't really make a joke about everything that the grandchildren come up with, and some of their situations require that little extra element of compassion, and that's a different side of me. And so many times I try to crack jokes and try to be funny, but there are moments when I have to really focus and be serious. And when the granddaughters say that somebody in school is bullying them, then I have to think back to all the things that I went through as a child and give them advice that's practical in this politically correct environment that we find ourselves in.
So are you still close as a family? You're still the go-to person, your siblings?
I am very close to my family. They're in my pocket, in my life right now. The ones you don't know, you owe.
No, they're going to see this.
Yeah, well, it's the truth, so they can't deny it.
So tell us a little bit about your family, the dynamics.
Well, my wife came from a large family. There were 9 in her family, and we all lived in Cherry Hill in South Baltimore. In fact, I met my wife by working summer jobs and going to school in Cherry Hill. I think I saw my wife first time in 1st grade, and I said, "That little girl's cute." But I was too young to be asking a little girl to be my girlfriend, So I noticed her, and then later on we went to middle school together, and again I noticed her. Didn't say much to her. Then I got this summer job working in recreation, and she was one of the recreation leaders. And so every day after school, I'd try to walk her home, and she would run ahead and try to stay out of my way and try to duck out a side door and avoid me. I was pretty persistent. So she did get to know me a little better during that summer job. And then when I was in high school, I needed a date for my prom, so I asked her to go to my prom with me. And then I went to community college, and we started dating. And eventually we fell in love and got married.
That sounds wonderful. So how long have you been married?
37 years.
Wow.
37 years.
I admire something like that.
No, I admire my wife for putting up with me for 37 years.
But you've known her most of your life, and so you pretty much loved her.
That's right. Large families. And by the way, when we get together, we have these family reunions, and like hundreds of them. We went to a park in Catonsville, and all these children were there, cousins and relatives and friends, and I said, I'm all down in the shade of a tree, and I did a whole 45-minute to an hour-long magic show with puppets and juggling and magic tricks and giving out prizes, and it was just so much fun. And I didn't realize how much fun it was until I looked at a videotape of what I had done, and I said, oh my goodness, where did I get the energy? No, where did I get the nerve?
But any of your other siblings get involved in the things that you do?
My 3rd youngest brother, Douglas, he's interested in broadcasting. In fact, he recently left his job at Sparrows Point to take a course in broadcasting. At least he applied to take a course in broadcasting. And I thought that was really interesting. He has a nice voice, and he has that same ability to stand in front of the audience and make them smile. So it might be a good fit for him. And that's at the late, he's in his 50s, so that's a late change of career for him. I have a second youngest brother, who loves being in business for himself. He owns a tuxedo shop, and he's a salesman, a good salesman. And people, somebody walks into his tuxedo shop, he'll not only rent him a tuxedo, he'll sell him the shirt, and that's going to be theirs to keep, but he made $1 off of it.
So share with us some of the other avenues that you're involved in. I
Well,
understand you do magic.
But I also teach broadcasting skills at the Broadcasting Institute of Maryland. I teach promotions, which is to increase audience and increase revenue, and I teach that process to our students at the Broadcasting Institute of Maryland. I teach commercial writing, and that's a skill. You have to get people's attention, hold their interest, build their desire for the product, and finally, ask for some action from them. That means asking for the sale or telling them where to go to purchase the product, and that's a very important part of commercial writing. And finally, I teach public speaking, which in summary is stand up, speak up, and then shut up, which I've never really learned to do.
Oh, you also have a radio show.
Oh yes, I'm on the radio.
Called, Maryland Fun Time. Let folk know about that.
I've been
that they can contact you.
Sure, I've been doing Maryland Fun Time for about 27 years now, and it was on WCAO radio when WCAO radio was country western. And then when the station fired everybody, I was still there doing community service on the Maryland Fun Time radio show. I guess they didn't notice me, as I just kept doing the show. Every week I'd show up and do a couple segments, and it's been on the air continuously since 1986 or so.
Absolutely, and you're also a very busy man. I understand you also have TV.
I'm doing television. I'm working with Loretto Gubernatis, and I'm the host of Eye on Baltimore, and I have a magic show called The Magic Box that's on public access television in Baltimore City, Anne Arundel County, and Baltimore County, and I just love it. I worked with the Kinderman for a while with his program, The Kinderman Show, and that was wonderful. I mean, the Kinderman's a fantastic talent. He's won Emmys and awards. I learned a lot from him and Ken, the producer and co-producer of the show, and we had a wonderful time doing skits to educate children and inspire them to want to do well.
That sounds wonderful. Well, John, it's been fascinating learning more and more about you as I go along. I've been watching you over time. But we're going to talk some more as soon as we take this break.
Okay, that sounds good. Okay, folks. Money, 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 money. All right, I'm Oscar. I know you are. I like money. Okay, I know you do. I'm the money bunny. The money bunny. All right, of course you are. I know I am.
Welcome back. We're joined today with John the Wizzz Carrington. So, Jonathan, John, I'm sorry. Tell us more about your puppetry and how you bring your storytelling, your style of storytelling, to our audience.
Well, the great thing about the puppets is that the puppets can develop a personality that contrasts your personality. If you ever watch stand-up comedy with comedy teams, there's always one guy who's serious and quiet, and one guy who's like way off the rail and wild. The Smothers Brothers, there's the serious one, and then there's Tommy who goes, mom just like you better, and so you laugh because there's this contrast between the two. But Abbott and Costello, there's the guy who's short and flustered and the guy who's tall and knows everything, but between the two of them there's chemistry. So with your puppet, you have an assistant who you don't have to pay, who you can play your personality off. And if he's the silly guy, that means you can play serious. And the puppet gets the applause, which takes a little step down on ego, but it's something you have to do if you're going to be successful as a puppeteer or a ventriloquist. Your ego has to be submerged in entertaining the audience rather than being the big guy on campus and being the lead entertainer. So the puppet kind of steals the spotlight on purpose.
I've always been fascinated too by ventriloquism. How you can make something talk without, moving your mouth and.
Well, it's sort of like politics. You talk out of both sides of your mouth. And if you can do that, you can be either a ventriloquist or a senator or a governor. Who knows? The sky's the limit.
Okay, my goodness. So you're going to demonstrate some of that for us today?
Certainly. I'll teach you a little ventriloquism. Are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Okay, all right,
Let me see
okay.
if I can do it.
What you do is you leave a little gap between your teeth, a little gap between your teeth, and you
Okay.
smile. The whole time you do ventriloquism, you smile.
Okay.
Now all you have to do is repeat after me. Look at the camera and repeat after me. And try not to move your lips. Okay, ready?
They're
Okay,
moving
smile,
on
smile, smile. Okay, without moving your lips, say, how
How
did
did
he
he
get in here?
get in here?
How did he 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 get in here?
Margaret just did politics. Ventriloquism. Yes, sirree. Because if your lips are moving, that means you're lying if you're a politician. But if your lips aren't moving, you're a ventriloquist.
So when did you realize that you could do this? You've been doing it, like I know, for a long time. So when did you know that you could do this? When did it start?
Actually, when I started working with the hand puppets, at one point I said, gee, if I had a hand puppet that could move his mouth, then maybe I could say words for him. And that meant I had to then find out the techniques. I went to the magic shop, and there was this elderly gentleman there, and the place was dark and musty, and I walked in, and I said to him, do you know the secrets of ventriloquism? And he looked at me and he said, do I know the secrets of ventriloquism? I said, yes. Do you know the secret of ventriloquism? And he said, the secrets of ventriloquism are in a book. So go to the library and get one. So that's what I did. Went to the library and I got a book on ventriloquism.
You know, I
and it
wasn't
solved the
ready for
problem.
that. So do you still have your original first puppet?
I certainly do. A little
You
puppet. It was a fellow named Tyler. Jimmy Tyler, and he did a few little stints on the Ed Sullivan Show. And for some reason, that Christmas they had a puppet that was very similar to his puppet that they put in the toy stores. And I got a hold of him, and you pull a little string on the back of his back, and his mouth opened. And it was the most horrible ventriloquist puppet you'd ever want to use. But because I needed a puppet real fast, because I wanted to do some television. And Bob Turk and the Sunshine Kids was a show that was on television. They needed a ventriloquist. And so I got this little puppet, practiced, and went on TV with Percy. And Percy was the puppet that I first used, and it was on TV with Bob Turk and the Sunshine Kids.
Awesome.
And that was the launch of my ventriloquism career.
Okay, that sounds wonderful. Yeah, which one, you're still working with several puppets now. Which one is your favorite?
Well, my favorite is Oscar. He's a rabbit. And since I'm a magician, to have a rabbit as a partner is quite natural. And Oscar is super silly. I mean, I try to be half serious. And Oscar is super silly. So between the two of us, we make audiences laugh. There's Hakeem Ice Cream. He's my puppet from down the hood. And he knows that he's one of the boys from the hood. And so Hakeem relates to all audiences, especially audiences from the inner city. Hakeem has a stocking cap on, and he wears the latest style of clothing. He wears the latest name brand tennis shoes. So Hakeem relates very quickly to kids who have that urban perspective.
The pants down.
The pants. Well, I don't let him. I don't let his pants go down, because that indicates that Hakeem is going off another direction, and I want him to at least be able to pull the youngsters back to a positive sense of who you are and how you present yourself. So even though he wears a little stocking cap, Hakeem tries to tell the boys and girls that there's some good behaviors that you should adhere to. And one of those behaviors is personal appearance. If you care about how you look, others will care about you. If you look like you don't care, many times you'll get treated the way you dress, the way you act.
So you use some of these puppets to encourage or teach kids positive influences on them, as well as telling stories?
Yes, the puppet becomes a teaching tool. And with that teaching tool, you can create teachable moments. Hakeem is a puppet who uses the street lingo, but he also knows that there's some rules that youngsters should follow, and so he tries to be a role model. So he draws them in, but he presents a positive role model that allows children to learn from his example as well as his words.
Right, and so your demographics are
My demographics,
young to...
all ages actually, because if you notice, whenever I do a show, the adults in the back watching, and they're going, how do you do that? Wow, I think I better laugh at this joke. And the youngsters are laughing up front and being out with it, and the adults in the back laughing because the youngsters are laughing. I once had a child come up uninvited. You know, I'm doing my puppet act, and the child came up uninvited. So I said, well, come over here. And I stood the child here, and I said, are you enjoying the show? And I did the words, but I just kind of moved the child's head. Oh yeah, I'm having a good time. And so I actually did the ventriloquism with the child. The children laughed, the adults laughed, and I got a good publicity effect from the child just walking up and wanting to be close to the show.
Awesome. So the parents do come up to you sometimes and tell you what kind of influence you have on their
Oh
children.
wow, all the time I get compliments about how the youngsters reacted to the show, and many times parents will invite me to attend their child's birthday party and entertain. So I get most of my shows as a result of referrals from people who have seen me, or they have children at the party who say, I want that man to be our magician, our entertainer at my birthday.
With all the things that you're doing, you still have time to like do children's parties?
Oh yeah. In fact, that's my main course of entertainment and pursuit. The children's entertainment, there's a need for positive children's entertainment. The cartoons that are on TV are starting to slide off the deep end as far as my standards of morals and behavior go. And in the last 20 years, I've seen things in cartoons that I never thought would happen. I mean, cartoons where the characters use profanity or use adult situations in a cartoon. I didn't think that any of that would ever happen in my lifetime, but...
Okay, so I understand also that you're assistant general manager down at Lexington Market.
Oh yeah, there was a time in my life when I was the assistant general manager at world famous Lexington Market, where everybody knows that courtesy and service are always in season. That was my favorite slogan. And it was my pleasure to walk around the market every day to make sure that everything was just perfect. Security was doing their job. The people who were cleaning and making sure that everything was nice and neat, and merchants, everybody was cooperating to make the market a real tourist attraction and showcase for Baltimore. So I had a wonderful time doing that. I still have friends down there at the market.
So were you responsible for like the entertainment that went on down
did.
there as well?
There were times when I booked the entertainment for the market.
Awesome.
We've had John Kinderman Taylor there, and did we ever book you, Margaret?
I've never done the Lexington.
Oh wow, okay, all right. Well, it's too late now. Anyway,
You can always invite me to your show.
Oh, okay.
So look, we're gonna talk to you some more when we come right back.
All right.
So I got Hakeem ice cream. I feel so good. I feel like singing a Christmas song. I'm going to sing. No. I'm going to sing something very special. I'm going to sing Joy to the World.
Joy to the world. Be quiet while Hakeem ice cream sings.
Jeremiah was a bullfrog. He was a good friend of That's not a Christmas song. Well, it's Joy to the World. Oh, okay. I know another one. You'll like this one. I'm dreaming of a chocolate with every Christmas card I write. So may your days be merry and bright.
Okay, and action on Margaret coming back.
And welcome back. We're here again with John the Wizzz Carrington, and you've told us so many wonderful things about yourself and what you've been doing. But this is about Keepers of the Flame. This is about storytelling. Can you share a story with us before we go?
I'll share one of my favorites. An old man traveling a lone highway came at evening, cold and gray, to a chasm deep and wide The old man crossed in the twilight dim, for the sullen stream held no fear for him. But he stopped when he reached the other side and built a bridge to span the tide. "Old man," cried a pilgrim stranger near, "you're wasting your strength with building here. Your journey will end with the ending day. Why build a bridge at eventide?" The old man raised his old gray head. "Good friend, on the path I have come," he said, "there followeth after me today a youth whose feet must pass this way. This stream, which was not to me, to that fair-haired lad may a pitfall be. He too must cross in the twilight dim. Good friend, I'm building this bridge for him."
John, that was absolutely wonderful. Great story. So, I just want to thank you for
Thank you.
joining us today.
Aw.
And I hope that you'll come back and join us again on Keepers of the Flame. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, boys and girls, I really love working with John the Wiz. John the Wiz needs a rabbit, right? Well, I'm a rabbit with a bad habit. I run my mouth. I run my mouth so bad. I mean, he just let me loose today, and I'm here working the cameras. I got my own show almost. I tell you, don't tell John the Wiz, because I am Oscar, and I am the rabbit of the hour. And I love the rabbit show. I love the rabbit show. I love... I think I hear John the Wiz. Hey, boys and girls, I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Eat your vegetables, get plenty of sleep, and take care of yourself.
That's right. Be smart.
Be smart, be healthy.
Right on.
African Americans are storytellers. They're known by different names. Some call them dojos, some call them griots. It's more about keeping the history alive, even if it's oral, but to keep the history going. And I myself, I tell my stories through various ways. I might write a story and have it shown as a production, a play. I may do it in poetry. And you'll find contact information at the bottom of the screen. So contact us and share your stories with us.